I need to place these Dorman bypass heater hoses. They're 90-degree elbows and they're leaking. And when you have a leak, there's a problem. Do you agree? If there's a leak, there's a problem. I could keep driving it, keep putting more antifreeze in the car. Antifreeze is quite high. I don't get 50-50, I always get full strength. You can get it at Walmart for about $10, $11 a gallon. And you can take out 1 gallon of antifreeze and take another gallon jug and put 50% antifreeze in 1 jug and 50% water. That way you get 2 gallons for your money. So for that 1 gallon of full strength antifreeze, you can make 2 gallons because you're supposed to split it 50-50. Now if you already get it pre-mixed, it's almost the same price. So the full strength's only like $2 more. So you might as well get the full strength, because if you get the 50-50, which is already got the water in it, you've only got 1 gallon to put in your car. And if you spend $2 more, you can end up with 2 gallons of antifreeze. Why in the world would they put plastic heater elbows, bypass heater elbows in a car? I never know. So then you can carry it back to the manufacturer, you can carry it back to the dealership, and they can make it $300 to $500. But I'm going to do it myself, like I always. And I'm 52. When I was 22, I loved to work on cars. I would find a reason to work on cars. If there was one little leak on the bottom of the motor, whether if it was an oil, transmission fluid, I mean 1 drop like every 5 minutes, nothing really to worry about. But I would find a reason to work on a car when I was 22. Being 52, I don't like to work on them. Your bones ache, your neck aches, your back aches, everything aches on your body. Who wants to tackle a car, get grease all over you? Now I found that fascinating to work on a car when I was 22. I don't find it so fascinating at 52. Big O's out. I'll check that later, and I'll probably do clips as I work on the car explaining things, but I will before I check out. I'll show you what needs to be done. All right. This metal bar right here got 2 nuts on it. This has to be removed. It goes all the way across the engine. You want to remove this so you can get this, see it says engine coolant, so you can get this radiator overflow tank out of the way. Number 2, you've got another metal rod. I guess you can see it right here. There's another metal rod. You see this with a nut on it? It goes over here to the top of the valve cover. You have to remove this second rod too. Number 3, you got to remove this serpentine belt. See this belt? It's not the kind of belt you put on that you put in your pants. It's the kind of belt that turns everything, that spins everything on your car, like your alternator from the engine. This has to be removed. So number 1, this bar. Number 2, that bar. Number 3, actually, that overflow antifreeze tank. Number 4, the serpentine belt. And number 5, you've got to get this alternator out of the way. You feel me? So to do that, once you get your serpentine belt out of the way, you've got like 3 bolts that holds this aluminum bracket onto the car. And the problem is, this this one pulley right here, the pulley, the one that actually is just an extension for your belt to keep it tight, the belt tension or pulley. In the back of that, in the back of this is where the elbows are. In the back of this is where the elbows are. And so to get to the elbows, all this has to come out of the way. So basically, in other words, it's a pain in the butt. But somebody's got to do it, and I'm not going to pay somebody else $200 or $300 to do what I can do in 30 minutes. So I'll check back later. It's always fun, and never a moment. A man's work is never done. But women's always talking about a woman's work's never done. A man's work is never done. Buy these aluminum ones. Don't go back with the plastic $6 ones. Go back with the $15 ones. Save your money. I mean, spend $6 more, $9 more to get the real product. Why they put plastic in the engine, I do not know. Well, my friends, I've got the car torn apart, and what I ended up doing, this one bar that went across the top of the alternator, I just took this nut off. It goes in, and it goes over to the top of the valve cover. I loosened that nut so I could push this bracket bar that helps support the top of this alternator. All I did was push it back. I loosened the other end of it, the small nut on the top of the valve cover, whatever. It's actually not on top of the valve cover, it's a bracket on top of, right over the valve cover. I loosened that nut so I could push this out of the way and tighten it back over here so it stays. So that's out of the way. So, and remember that big bar across the top of the engine? There it is right here that you have to remove. and those was 15mm nuts, I think. And to get my radiator reservoir out of the way, remember it had nuts up here, 2 little nuts. They were, hold on, I'll tell you, 11mm. I think that's what it was. I've got 11mm, and all this should pop off. This bracket with the belt extension and the pulley, all this is mounted to one bracket, this belt tensioner and a pulley, and also the alternator. So you take a bolt out, 2 bolts right below this belt tensioner, take 2 bolts out. One's right here on the back side of it, the top part of it. Top part of the tension, there's a hole right there. There's a bolt right below here. Take these 2 bolts out. Also, they were 16mm, if I'm not mistaken. I used a 1/2 inch drive. As you can see, I've got this off. Here's this is the front side of it. This is your alternator. Let me hold it up straight so I'll let you see. I took the whole bracket off, attaches to the engine. All this mounts right over your water pump. This is your water pump. And so one of the 90s goes right here. That one actually stayed in the bottom part of this, which is right here. See this 90? And you can tell that it was leaking. This goes right below this pulley. So here, that's what's got to be replaced. And the second one, like I said, the second one, as you can see, fell out. It fell off completely out and fell down, I guess, to the bottom of the engine. So those are the 2 90s. It's easy to do. And that one bolt I told you up top, let me show you right here. You get this situated. That one nut doesn't have to come off the alternator. That just mounts to the bracket. I thought it did. So you've got 3 bolts to get this off. You've got one here, one here, one here, and one more. All right, what I meant to say is right below this, I took the whole alternator off on this bracket. This, as you can see, let me get over here. See, alternator's mounted to this aluminum bracket. The water flows through from the water pump. The water flows through the water pump through here and comes out. Let me show you. Where's the other side of it? Actually, let me see. It flows in this end right here, the top part. Let me show you the bracket. I don't know if you can see it because it's getting close to dark. Here's your water pump, which is right below the tension pulley. That's your water pump. This bracket's right, this other 90 is right here. I've got to take it out. So the water comes from, I said the water pump, but it does. It looks like it comes from the top of the engine, right below your valve cover. Goes through. It goes through and comes out into your, your heater. You got these 2 heater hoses. So that's all you need to know. And it goes back the same way. I took it loose. It's simple. Take your time. Do it right. When you take these out, you see it's broke off in there. You have to get all this out before you put the 90 back in there. And the new 90s, they have the rubber gaskets, the seals in it. See the rubber O-rings? So it'll snap right in. Just like, taking popcorn from a baby or candy from a baby. It's simple. If you're gonna do it right. I've got to get this back together. I had a busy day. I had to go to the dentist. It's about, I don't know, 4:20 p.m., 4:30 almost. And it gets dark here at 5:20, so I've got to get the boogie in. One thing I'd like to point out is these 90s that come out of there. See how the ends are broke off? I've did plumbing and electrical work all my life. Plastic, when it gets old, it gets brittle and it'll break off. That's what it's did. That's why it was leaking. And be sure to clean every bit of this out. Right here is your tension pulley, and this 190 goes in right here. See how it's broke off in this aluminum housing? Be sure to get all of that out. If not, you cannot push your 90 in there. That 90's got an O-ring. It's got to pop in and it's got to fit tight. Get all of this out. And also the same way down here, right beside your water pump on the left side, get all this crud out of there. If not, those won't fit in there tight. So if you're gonna take your time, do it and do it right. If not, don't do it at all. Get a mechanic to do it. To point out, you see this O-ring right here, rubber O-ring? This and this plastic piece was stuck in the engine. The 2 holes where the water flows to the engine, this has to come out. And when you take the old ones out, see how brittle it was? It broke off in the engine. Now where, see these aluminums, what I'm trying to explain to you, see these aluminums? This part from here up broke off in the engine. See that where it's thicker? So you've got to get this part out of the engine. The plastic ones, that's what was in the engine. Be sure to take you can take a screwdriver like I did, a little small screwdriver, and pull them out. If not, this will be in the engine, and when you put all this back together, these O-rings will not fit tight in the engine. They'll be loose. So make sure to pop that the plastic pieces out of the engine. If not, it's going to leak.